What's up, everybody? Today we're playing some new Final Fantasy card, and it's Summon Brunhilde and Lightning Army of One. So most of you probably don't know what the summon does, because most people skip through it in the spoiler season. The first chapter of it is an impulse draw for every turn where we that exiles one card, and we can play it in any turn where we put a lore counter on this card. So the unfortunate part about this one is that if our opponent removes it, we won't be able to play the card in future turns. But the other chapters give the first creature we cast that turn haste. And that combos really well with Lightning Army of One. 3 mana 3/2 first strike trample lifelink. And once she deals combat damage to a player for the rest of that turn, all our sources deal double damage. So she allows for some crazy turn 4 kills. Lightning Bolt dealing 6 damage to the dome, Goblin Bombardment sacrificing something for 2 damage. And the most important part is that she has first strike, so that if she hits, our normal creatures like Ragavan, Guide of Souls and even Flage deal double damage afterwards. But the one real weakness of Lightning, she doesn't have haste herself. So we're playing 3 Arena of Glory, pretty stock. Not only good for Flage, but also the summon Brunhilde that give haste, so that hopefully we get to play the summon, give lightning haste, and just one-shot our opponent from nowhere. Other than that, just the usual for Guide, for Ocelot, for Discharge, for Ragavan, for Ajani. We're playing 4 Flage and 2 Voice of Victory as our flex 2 drops, 3 Goblin Bombardment. Now this build is lacking in the usual card advantage drops. There is no Season Pyromancer, there is no Fable of the Mirror Breaker, just like yesterday's Mardulis. But we have the summon that can give us some card advantage, and we're just hoping to beat our opponent faster, though we don't need the card advantage. Killing our opponent with 5 cards in hand basically means we are up 5 cards, so we hope that this will work. Now let's look at our sideboard. We do have 2 Blood Moon, 1 Pillage to answer some lands, some artifacts, Wear Tear against artifacts, enchantments, Ghost Vacuum for the mirror, and to answer slower graveyard shenanigans, Deafening Silence, Orm's Chant, Celestial Purge against White, Black, and the Mirror, High Noon against Brow Storm, Clarion Conqueror against Artifact Creature shenanigans, Extraction Specialist in the sideboard as a value drop. It works really well together with our summon, not only with Ajani and such, because getting back the summon means that we get to draw another card, give our next creature haste. Getting back Ajani, especially together with Bombardment, is also crazy value, and 1 Wrath of the Skies. So let's, without further ado, jump right into the league, and let's see if Lightning Army of One and Summon Brunhilde might actually make energy good. Match number 1, I have a horrible sunburn under this, so I am Boros colored, which is why we are playing Boros Lightning Energy. Immediately have in our hand. I do like this. We have Guide into Ajani and Lightning, so let's keep it, and let's see if Lightning and Brunhilde, or however you're supposed to pronounce it, are also able to improve energy. My theory is that now with the Final Fantasy set, energy will actually split into 2 actually different archetypes, where you have, for example, the Boros version here, which will be a lot more aggressive with lightning, and a Mardu version running Sephiroth like we did yesterday, and being a bit more mid-rangey and focusing on different aspects of the Goblin Bombardment plan. So let's see if my theory holds up. Let's see if lightning is good. Let's see if the new summon is good and can actually be a wannabe Amped Raptor. Opponent shocked in a Watery Grave and fated pushed our Guide of Souls. That's absolutely okay. Also, I figured I should be a bit more engagement baity, so please leave a like, please subscribe. Please, please, please. Would actually mean a lot. It would really help me grow this a bit. And we find Brunhilde. It's something like Brunhilde, but weird. So I think I'll just run out Ajani for now, but let's first attack with the cat. Should probably be a free attack. Then we'll run out Ajani. Let's do it like this. And even if our opponent has a removal spell for Ajani, we still get to flip him by using our Discharge. Opponent does not have a removal. I like that. So let's just uptick Ajani to keep him safe from any shenanigans. And we have a Discharge to get rid of Ragavan. Opponent appears to be on some Grixis pile. Grixis Wizards, Grixis midrange. And do they just swing with the Ragavan? They do, and they try to hit us. I will just take the trade. No need to use our Discharge right here. That way we can just grab a survey land, and maybe play Brunhilde next turn as another red permanent for Ajani. Or we just run out lightning. With our opponent having 3 mana up, I assume there will be a counter spell of some sort. Mana, so this is a mulligan. But this hand looks pretty nice. Let's keep it and let's put one Brunhilde on the bottom. We're sure to have enough land drops. We have Ajani into Specialist if our opponent kills Ajani, which also sounds pretty sweet. Opponent just runs out a monkey. We don't have removal, let's just surveil. Our opponent can access Serene of Glory. Would have liked to draw it for off-lage, but as long as our opponent doesn't get real card advantage off of Ragavan, I'm fine with that. Yep, opponent hits us with Ragavan, access Serene of Glory. Maybe we are lucky and they kept the one lander with Ragavan, I doubt it. But maybe. There's a basic swamp. And a Tamio into a Psychic Frog. So they are just Grixis good stuff. They do have enough cards to discard with a Psychic Frog, so it doesn't really make any sense to do anything about that. Not like we could, but just thinking for the future already, because Flage on Psychic Frog won't really do anything. So let's just run out Ajani. And even if our opponent has a removal for Ajani, we can Specialist it back and maybe do something with that. But I assume our opponent will probably hit us in the air with a Psychic Frog and have a removal for Ajani. Yep, there's a push for Ajani. And there's a Bowmaster to get rid of our warrior token. Oh, that's annoying. Opponent skips combat by mistake. Live and die by the Modo. But we're not here to not capitalize on mistakes, so let's just Flage away the Psychic Frog where we can. Yeah, stuff like that happens, stuff like that sucks. That's why playing in paper is better, but unfortunately I won't be able to play all different decks in paper. Maybe, just maybe, there will be some paper gameplay eventually, but for now we're just playing on good old Magic Online. Opponent hits Ajani off of Ragavan and casts Ajani. Now the fun thing is, Ajani exiles and then comes back transformed, so we can just kill the Cat Warrior and we would get the Ajani. Let's just play a land, run out an Extraction Specialist and get back our own Ajani. Hopefully no counterspell. No counterspell. So let's just grab our Ajani. And the fun thing is we can just block his Cat Warrior with our Ajani to get this Ajani flipped. Ajani can't block right now because of the Specialist, but trust me, he's not the worst hit they could have had. Opponent corrects the clue. Do they get to flip the Tamio right now? They just pushed our Ajani. That's totally fine with us. Maybe they don't know how Ajani works with it. Yep, they just full swing in. And investigate with Tamio. So I'll block Ragavan and the Cat Warrior. We just take 2 damage, and if our opponent decides to flip Ajani, we get Ajani on our side. Yep, that's live. We do have Ajani. Our opponent also just said in chat that that's awkward. And what's even worse for them is that we get to escape Flage with haste if we survey something into the graveyard. But if there's something good on top, I will keep it. I will actually keep this Ragavan, I think, because we're still fine with just playing Brunhilde and Ragavan. And we can give haste to our Flage off the summon, and our opponent might have a counterspell right here. I think staying safe like this probably is a bit better. We could give Ragavan dash with the Arena of Glory. I don't hate that actually, because we do have lots of mana. So let's first play our Brunhilde. Maybe we find something like Lightning. There's a counterspell. Yep, so good we didn't just escape. And we dash our Ragavan, hit our opponent. And we find a Snapcaster Mage. I will actually just cast that to have an additional blocker, even though there's nothing we can flash back. And that way our Ajani is also able to kill this Tamil, so they don't get any more card advantage. So our opponent is down to 2 cards, but they do have a clue. But most likely next turn we will just escape this Flage. Played it safe for 1 turn, and if they have another counterspell, so be it. Don't just play the tap Dark Shores. So let's just run out Flage and see if they are dead. Escape with haste. And they have a Snapcaster Mage to flash back their counterspell. That's annoying, but nothing too bad. Did not really use any real resources for this. We're both in top deck mode and we have our Ajani going on. I won't attack with this Ragavan obviously, because we have to keep our red creature around. So our Ajani still gets to shoot. And we will remove the Snapcaster Mage so they don't have a wizard for Flame of Anor or something like that. Play a tapped land. And I will attack with this Snapcaster Mage. Slowly have to run them out of resources. And in case I ever want to uptick Ajani, which might actually be pretty okay next turn, that way we keep around more cats to buff. Opponent cracks a clue, finds a land. 1 unknown left in hand, but doesn't seem to be something too good. And we find another Flage. That sounds pretty sweet. So let's just play Flage and remove the Bowmaster to swing in. I won't use the Ajani immediately in case they have a blocker, so we can still remove it. If they block the Ragavan, we won't be able to do the damage. So, I think it's probably better to just use Ajani right now. Deal 4 damage to our opponent, run out our land, and hit them for 6. Best thing would probably be another Bowmaster for them. It's a Snapcaster. They do have Fatal Push, so they can get rid of our Ragavan and of a cat. Question is if they want to block a cat with a Snapcaster. Probably shouldn't, so they still have a warrior for potential Flame of Anor, but their life total is really low, so they might block. They keep it up. They are looking for a Flame of Anor. It's probably the correct play. They mill a land off of a survey land. And now that's basically their last real top deck. Let's scoop it up. Nice. On to the next match. Match number 2, we won another die roll. Now, this can actually be a greedy keep with a double Ragavan and a discharge to make sure our Ragavan connects. And I am greedy, so I will keep this. Do as I say, not as I do. You should mulligan this on the play. It is probably too greedy, but I am too greedy. So let's run out monkey number 1. And we'll just hope to top deck some lands. Or at the very least, we're hoping that Ragavan will connect. Opponent plays an Eldrazi Temple, so Ragavan is pretty likely to survive. Nice. And we draw a Brunhilde. I will play that in hopes of finding a land. Could also run out the Bombardment or the Ajani. Exile a Flashbreaker. They might also be on Broodscale. Not necessarily just straight up Eldrazi. Let's hope this finds a land. Does resolve. And we exile Flage. Now that's bad, but well, that's what I get for keeping such a greedy hand. And at the very least, if our opponent would remove Ragavan now, we would still be able to dash in another one for 1 mana with Brunhilde. Hello, kitty. Now you look pretty weird with the cutout screen. Put you away. Into your bed. No! Okay, you want to cut. Then come, jump on my lap. And now we get to make something funny that usually doesn't work. We get a hasted Guide of Souls. Usually no shot of doing that with only Renocularity. But Brunhilde makes it possible. Let's hit our opponent for 5. Oh no, there is a Kozilek's command. Oh no. That's probably our demise. They get rid of our monkey. They make a blocker or just a ramp next turn. Cat, come on. Relax, relax. There's your bed. Have a seat. Chill, chill, kid. Our opponent probably won't block. They probably just use their mana. Yep. Next turn. That's the unfortunate thing about the summons. Brunhilde will die, but it will allow us to dash in another monkey. And they have a Gemstone Caverns. Not playing anything, so they will probably just make a construct. And we find a land. Sweet. Only a little too late, but it's still fine. Let's run out a hasted monkey. Get life, get an energy, yeet the cat away, and let's just go to combat. They make a construct and float 2 mana. That's interesting. So let's just get rid of the construct because it's only Eldrazi mana. I assume they might have mistapped, but don't mind if I do, opponent. Get rid of the construct, and because he did all of that with our Guide of Souls trigger still on the stack, we even get to buff the Ragavan. Now that's best case scenario. Only real way we get incredibly punished that might happen is if they just combo off next turn. Not impossible, but with them not having a sign right here and not having colored mana yet, also not too likely. And next turn we're probably going to connect with Ragavan unless they have another command to get rid of it. And then we could play Ajani and Bombardment to close out the game. Would love if that works. Go and float the mana and grab something off the Other Saga. It is a Springleaf Drum. Opponent tapping and untapping their lands multiple times, and we'll see what they're going to cast in the end. With a 4 mana and it being for colorless Eldrazi spells, it's probably another Kozilek's command. Yep, and they get rid of our monkey. Now that's unfortunate. Just hoping to draw land. 2 spawns, they do potentially still have access to 3 mana by tapping one of the spawns, which they do. And they play a Malevolent and Rumble. Vexing Bobble doesn't really do much, but they do find a Blade of the Blood Sheep, potentially start comboing us in the future, and they do take the Blade. Now Blade is also really good against our Bombardment plan. We find a land, so let's just clear the board with Ajani and Bombardment. Run out the Bombardment first, in case they have a Dismember maybe, which I doubt they would have main deck. Run out our favorite Cat Warrior. Gain some life, gain some energy, make a kitty, and shoot away our opponent's spawns. You get to flip Ajani. Oh, I could have been greedy and shot everything at our opponent's face, because we do get to give our Guide of Souls flying here as well. So we would have almost killed our opponent, but I think just keeping the board clear for now and making it so that the Springleaf Drum doesn't make any mana is a lot more important, especially because they missed their last land drop. I just want to make sure that everything is clear and they won't do anything ridiculous next turn. And with our Flage and our Flying Guide of Souls, we still have lethal even if they get rid of Ajani and the Cat Warrior. I assume that's a Flash Breaker that's coming. Sideboarding against Broodscale. We bring in our Artifact and Enchantment Hate, and we get rid of our Flages and of our Ragavan and 1 Flage. Flage is kind of slow in this matchup. The trim 1. With the new Saga rules change, I don't think Blood Moon does too much in this matchup, so let's just keep it with all this removal. On to game number 2. Game number 2, we have a Discharge and 2 Guide of Souls. It's nothing impressive because we have 4 lands, which is kind of a lot, but multiple 1-drops still are just absolutely crazy strong. We keep it, our opponent plays a Yawgmoth Coast and grabs a Pithing Needle off of an Ancient Stirrings. So our Goblin Bombardments probably won't be doing anything relevant soon. Let's just run out a guide and let's pass a turn. Kitty came back after vandalizing my trash can. Now you get over here and don't jump into the trash can again. Almost looks like I have an antenna growing out of my chest. Opponent plays a Cavern of Souls on Eldrazi and another Ancient Stirrings. They are just setting up and preparing their hand. And they find a Blade of the Blood Sheaf. They run out the Pithing Needle or the Blade. They just run out the Pithing Needle preemptively. I don't mind. We don't have Bombardment in hand right now. And they name Goblin Bombardment. That's to be expected. We find a Wear Tear, so in theory, we could get rid of it. But for now, let's just play a Guide of Souls. We could play a Discharge on a Guide and not pay anything to buff it. But that's way too greedy for now because we have to keep up our interaction and they do play Kozilek's Command, so the toughness doesn't really matter. Even though they also do play some Walking Ballistas, I assume. For now, our Guide of Souls should be safe of that. So let's just keep up our Discharge. And next turn, if they would have played an Urza Saga, we could have Wear Tear, Pithing Needle plus a Saga. That's a Flash Breaker. Definitely have to get rid of that. So let's just do it right away. Flash Breaker is such a scary card. It's out of hand so quickly, especially in multiples. Or just with a single Kozilek's Command sometimes. We get rid of it so we don't take the damage. Opponent has a Spawn and the Blade, so potentially next turn they could combo off. But we do have our Wear Tear right here. Could play the Brunhilde, but if we do that we might just die. Let's just play an Arena of Glory and attack for now. So next turn we do have Wear Tear in their turn to get rid of the Blade. And we have Summon for the turn after to gain some energy and draw a card. Yeah, that's your bet. That's a good place for you to stay. No, just stay there. Stay there. Everything's good. Everything's good. Opponent probably has a Kozilek's Command at the ready. I would assume. Let's just get rid of the Blade. Use our mana. Get rid of this threat. And they just pass the turn. We find another Discharge. That's also not too horrible. Let's run out our Summon. Could have exerted the Arena, maybe. Maybe I should have done that. And they just let it resolve. Probably want to get rid of the Guide of Souls that we buff now. And we find Ajani. Oh, that's spectacular. I want to play that right now, so we get to buff both Guide of Souls. And in case they would kill our Summon, we wouldn't be able to play Ajani next turn. If we had one more mana, would be absolutely nuts, because that would have meant that we would have also been able to discharge our cat to flip Ajani. But well, it's not Christmas yet. We're right in summer. And we attack with both Guide of Souls, and we will just buff each once. First you get a pair of pants, turn into an angel, and then you get one. With our opponent not having the Blade on board, I do feel kind of comfortable that they won't be able to just combo kill us next turn. They just take the hit, no exiling end of turn. They are probably just digging then, just scrying and making a couple of spawns, I'd assume. That means that they need Walking Ballista or Flash Breaker to kill us immediately, because they only have the spawns able to attack us. But they do dig really deep. They kept the one card on top and put 3 on bottom. Now I'm hoping that the one they kept is not the one that kills us. Maybe it was too greedy to run out the Ajani. Maybe we should have kept the Discharge up. Yep, that's the Broodscale. Opponent is down to 3 cards. That's a second Blade. Now one of the other cards has to be a Ballista or a Flash Breaker to kill us. Otherwise we do have the blockers. And we could just kill them in the air. Just wrote to our opponents that I scoop if the Broodscale hits me, so they don't have to combo for eternity. They say they do have a command to find the other piece. Well, I told them that I will scoop if they just cast the command. They might be a bit skeptical because they keep comboing for now, or they may be just lied about the command. We will see in a second. There's the command, so we'll just scoop it up, even though we could play for the time. Side buildings for game number 3. I don't think there's any changes I want to make. Ragavan is better on the play, but I still think it's probably not good enough because they just have infinite amount of blockers for it. So let's keep the removal and everything, and let's just go to game number 3. We are on the play, and this hand is not sketchy. This hand is just straight up gas. Guide of Souls, 2 removal spells, and Ajani and the Summon. Opponent mulligans to 6, so we'll just run out our Guide of Souls immediately, set up a bit of aggression, and let's pass the turn. Opponent plays a basic island. Now I am kind of confused. I'd assume it's just for sideboard stuff. And we find lightning. That's sweet. If we get to play lightning next turn, that would be a lot of damage. For now, let's just run out Ajani and hit our opponent with a Guide of Souls. If we don't find a land for lightning, or even if we do, it's probably more reasonable to just play our summon and keep up interaction. They use blue mana, and they play a Walking Ballista for x = 1. That's totally fine. We do find a land, so we could run out lightning, but I think it's best to just use our bolt right here, or maybe our discharge. Bolt would also combo with lightning. Use our discharge, our opponent will probably just ping our face, but we still get to buff something because we play the summon, so let's run out the discharge. Bolt still gets rid of all of the creatures and is additional reach, and especially with the lightning, it's a lot of damage. So let's keep that. We'll play the summon, and we almost have set up lethal already. That's crazy together with lightning. We find a land, so next time we will be able to haste in lightning and play the bolt, which would be absolutely disgusting. For now we'll just buff our Guide of Souls, hit our opponent for 6, and if our opponent only plays a single creature, they are just dead next turn. They run out in Urza's Saga and they pass the turn. So yep, we can just haste our lightning with the Brunhilde, play the planes. Could also play a second Guide of Souls, but let's just play lightning, give it haste, and let's hit our opponent. If they make a construct to block, we just hold the construct and hit them. That's crazy. This combo works brilliant. Hasty lightning, move to combat, and hit our opponent for an absolute metric shit ton. Now, even if they get rid of our Guide of Souls and make a blocker with Kozilek's command, we bolt the token, they take 3 from lightning and take 10 from those creatures, so it would still be exactly lethal. That's nutty. That's absolutely nutty. There's the Kozilek's command. We get rid of our Guide of Souls. And now we get rid of their spawn and hit them for exact lethal out of nowhere. GG's opponent. Nice. On to the next match. Match number 3. 4 lands, double Ragavan and Brunhilde. We are on the draw. That means Ragavan gets a lot worse, especially because if I remember correctly, that guy is just a full-on Yawgmoth one-trick pony. So just based on that, because I think that guy always plays Yawgmoth, I will mulligan. This hand is kind of greedy because it is a one-lander. But hear me out, if we do find another land, we are golden. Even though we are here to test Brunhilde together with lightning, put lightning on the bottom because we are low on lands. But double guide, discharge and bombardment should be able to clear the way against many things. Opponent grabs Overgrown Toon and goes for a Dryad Arbor. So I think I was right. That looks like it's a Yawgmoth pile. Let's just bolt the bird and make 2 energy while doing that. And we are hoping we draw lands. Wouldn't mind flooding a little right here. Especially because we drew another lightning. Typical MTGO Scrybug. Opponent grabs a basic swamp and plays a Dredges inside. They do mill a decent variety of creatures. They are also playing the new Sephiroth. Definitely sounds like a nice combo tool. And they also grab Yawgmoth. We find a land. That's fortunate for us. Let's just run out both our guides. So next turn we can play Brunhilde or Bombardment, depending on what our opponent does. I would absolutely appreciate our opponent missing a land drop. That would sound great. And they play Young Wolf. Do they miss a land drop? Nope. My prayers have not been heard. And they also have a Soul Cauldron. So now it's getting tough. Luckily enough, they don't have a Sacrifice outlet yet. But if they do find one together with their Sephiroth in hand, we will be in a lot of trouble. Brunhilde sticks. Let's see what we get. And it's another lightning. We are going absolutely lightning speed. Let's just go in with one of our guides because we can buff one, and the other one might just die if they decide to buff their Young Wolf. Good thing is, if our opponent doesn't attack with our board and only plays a Sephiroth next turn, we could still hit them for a lot because we could maybe draw land. If we do draw land, lightning with haste from Brunhilde and buffing the lightning with the Guide of Souls would be a devastating life swing. And they exile their delighted halfling end of turn to make their Young Wolf into a mana dog. And they have a tapped land right here. They mill another land, no Yawgmoth inside, so we might be fine. And they play Court of Calling for 0 to put a Walking Ballista into their graveyard now. That's annoying. We get rid of our Brunhilde, so our lightning from exile won't do anything. and they gain infinite life. I don't think they can beat that. I don't think I can beat that. No, there's no way we can beat that. Okay, so let's just move to the next one. Sideboarding against Yawgmoth. Do like myself some Celestial Pearl, and I think we also want to maximize our removal for that Soul Cauldron. And that's a lot of cards we could potentially bring in. Ragavan definitely blows. What else can we get rid of? I think in this matchup we can shave a single Ocelot Pride. Let's also shave on Flage because they do have the ability to just act like it's a Soul Cauldron. I think I'll also shave on Brunhilde and on Lightning, because Lightning won't necessarily be able to connect against them. Let's try it like this. Game number 2, our hand looks great, we'll keep. Ocelot Pride into Bombardment hopefully allows us to lock up the board a decent bit. Not our kitty. And that's the turn. Opponent just searches for an Arbor. Let's play a Mountain, hit them with the Ocelot, and end of turn we'll just sacrifice our kitty to kill the Arbor with our Bombardment. We hit him with the Ocelot, play a Bombardment, make our token, and shoot that right Arbor. Bottom place they mill both. They grab a forest, so they probably have. I remove the spawn. Yep, they sacrifice their spawn so we don't get life. It's still okay. Let's play our summon and see if we find something interesting. We find another lightning bolt, but I will just keep it at the ready so we have a removal to get rid of whatever creature they are playing and decide to grow. One plays another Malevolent Rumble and they have Purist and Sephiroth in their pile. They grab another land. Now their graveyard is absolutely stacked. We're looking for something to hold their yard. Just a clean Ghost Vacuum would resolve a lot of our problems. They just pass the turn, so we'll use the bolt from our Brunhilde. We could also go for Lightning. I think I still have to stay back a little longer. Let's get rid of the spawn. And we have Purge or Double Bolt basically up. Now we'll be able to get a hit in, make another cat, keep the board clean, and next turn we might be able to go for the kill with Lightning. Fetch end of turn with their Catacombs, probably just grab a Surveyor. Yep, that's a Mortuary. And they mill a Walking Ballista, so they are really set to start doing stuff. Luckily enough, we have loads of removal. 4 mana. That's a culling ritual now. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. Did not think they would run this card right here. But at the very least we get to get rid of most of our things, so they only make 1 mana of the ritual. And they don't have anything to capitalize on it. Let's play a land. Let's get rid of this and let's still stay back, I think, because next turn we would be able to haste our Lightning, and if she connects we get to bolt for lethal. And now we have Discharge plus Purge ready. I think that will be a surprise one-shot our opponent won't expect, and one of the bigger strengths of Lightning I expect. Maybe this deck should actually swap the Galvanic Discharge and Lightning Bolt ratios, because we're not playing Static Prison, so the excess energy isn't as necessary, and the Lightning Bolt reach can definitely hurt. Opponent plays a Wooded Foothills, something for 3 mana, probably a Grist, Green Suns for 2, okay. That's a Scavenging Ooze. That's life gain. I don't like to see that. Let's just discharge. Do I let my opponent go for the double suck with the Scavenging Ooze, or do I bolt right here so they can only eat once? That's not the easiest decision, because we will have to use our bolt either way. That would mean they still have mana open. Let's not do it. I will let them eat both. Get rid of our Ocelot Pride. Yep. That way they at least tap out and they get rid of. Let's bolt right now. They have 1 energy. Maybe draw a Guide of Souls. Ocelot Pride, that's also pretty good. Because Lightning will gain us life. Let's hit them with Lightning. Fortunately, can't really use bonus damage, and our opponent has 4 cards with 5 mana ready, so they might be able to just kill us right here. Definitely a scary bot. Definitely a scary spot. Just a halfling. and something big for 4 mana. Is it? It's Skyfisher Spider, so they can kill one of our creatures, and they would gain lots of life if it wasn't for Celestial Purge being in exile. Sit up, they're just playing some value stuff for now. Can be just value stuff. There's a Cauldron, now it gets scary. A land, and what's their last card? Last card is a green Sun Zenith for 1. They can go for Walking Ballista and they can Spymaster Vault for Eternity. Discharge as a removal spell and Ajani to top it off. Opponent grabs a Godless Shrine, or they might be on some Flicker variant. They Thought Seizers, probably some sort of Flicker variant. The only real question is, do they also play blue, and do they play Catramos or not? Would have loved to be on the play right here, but that's just a big skill diff. They grab our Guide of Souls. So we'll just run out our Ragavan. Nice, we draw some card advantage. Probably will just die to a Bowmaster or something like that, but if he doesn't, he will do work. Opponent just plays a Shadowy Backstreet, so no Bowmasters, but then it's probably just a Fatal Push or something like that, because I assume otherwise they would have taken Ragavan. Let's go for the hit and see if it connects. It doesn't. To be expected. We could play Ocelot, could play Ajani, could play the Summon. I think for now I'll just go with Ajani. Opponent knows we have it, so they don't know we played the sweet card. And next turn we will be able to play Ocelot and Discharge, even if we don't draw another land. Opponent runs out an Overlord, and they miss. It's better to be lucky than good. They play a tap Witch West Meadow. Missing with the Overlord right there is huge for us, and we even draw another land. I think I'll just survey for now. Get rid of this Arena of Glory, run out our cat, and hit our opponent. I'll keep up my Discharge to potentially flip Ajani response to some removal. We could flip him right here to uptick him and protect our Ocelot Pride from a Bowmaster, but I think with our opponent just running out this Overlord empty right here, that probably is no Bowmaster. There is not even a land. I like the sound of that, so they might have a Failure. Flicker would have been pretty bad right here. It would have been pretty much the worst thing our opponent could have had. Let's run out our Summon. Let's see what we get. We find a land. Could play Ragavan and Discharge, but I think I'll just grab the card advantage where we can take it. Of this one. And let's swing in. So I don't expect our opponent to have main deck board wipe. There is a Fatal Push. So let's Discharge our cat. Flip Ajani, hopefully. Opponent even knew of this Discharge, right? Yep. They march away the warrior token. Okay, but that's still okay. That means our Ocelot does survive. They use 2 for 2-4-2 basically. Of course we had Ajani and used the discharge, they used 2 removal, but that's still fine. Ocelot gets a hit in, and they now have a Flicker Wisp. That will be tough. Fortunately that we don't have a removal for the Overlord, and they do get a decent hit. Failure for more value, or Bowmaster to just get rid of our Ocelot Pride, and they take the Boggart Trawler. Now I'm interested in what their thinking is with that line. Let's run out Lightning, give her haste, and we can't really play around anything, we just have to swing in, even though they'll get to eat our Lightning with the Overlord. We just have to deal as much damage as we can. Also dash in the Monkey. At least we have City's Blessing, and they even have a Solitude. That's annoying. Get rid of our Lightning, now they can eat away our Ocelot Pride with their Overlord and grab back the Solitude next turn. Now with the lack of stuff like Seasoned Pyromancer, there's probably no way for us to come back realistically right here. Ragavan finds the 3rd Solitude. If we just had mana up to cast that would have been awesome. But can't have everything. They hit us with the Overlord, or do you grab opponent? And they grab a Bowmaster right now. So they have Bowmaster and the Boggart. That's a Boggart. And they have Bowmaster to just answer our Ragavan. We find another land. That's too bad. Just hit in with our cat. No need to offer them for a quick easy 2-for-1. Yep. Basically our only hope is finding a Flage and them never grabbing back that Solitude, so they won't be able to exile our Flage. They also do have a really quick clock right here. They keep their army back to have a blocker for our Ragavan. They grab their Flicker Wisp. They can reset their Overlord once more. They reset their Boggart to exile our graveyard. That's actually somewhat okay. Should have fetched after the Boggart resolved, but I don't really think that will matter, because it is our last return. That doesn't do anything. Let's move to sideboarding. Sideboarding against white-black Flicker. I'll take out the Ragavan and shave on a Flage and a Discharge. I actually do like Blood Moon against them. Reasonable amount, because many of their lands are duels and they're creature lands, so we can often shut them off. Let's hope that worked in game number 2. We do have Blood Moon and the Guide of Souls. Looks great. Bold to answer a failure. Let's just run out our guide and see if we can cheese them with our moon. Opponent just played a Bleachbone Verge. And we find an Ocelot Pride. Now that's also pretty sweet. Let's just grab a Plains. And I'll play the Ocelot right now. They use a push. I should have attacked before. That was silly. But we got F6 value, I guess. Now we still have Bolt up in case they play something immediately. They don't, so that's probably just a failure. The annoying thing about that is that we still have to keep up our Lightning Bolt against failure right here. So let's just run out Ajani, because they could reset our Blood Moon with a failure and make it so they always have everything. And it's just a Bowmaster. We're worried about nothing. They get rid of our Ocelot Pride. We play Ajani and we pass the turn. There is the Overlord. That happens. And they find another Bowmaster. No land for our opponent, it seems. So I will actually just bolt my Cat Warrior right now in hopes of the Ajani flipping. Yep. Now we play Blood Moon and get rid of their creatures one by one with Ajani 0. Let's get rid of the Bowmaster first and pass the turn. And as you can see, opponent is just stuck there with 2 mountains, and even if they would find lands with other overlords and such, they are also just sweet non-basic mountains. Let's get rid of the Orc army and let's run out Lightning to kill our opponent next turn. If this Lightning connects next turn, it's actually lethal. That's crazy. Like the damage amplifier on this card, the way it ramps up, is pretty nutty. And they scoop it up onto sideboarding. Sideboarding for game number 3 against white-black. I don't really think there's any big changes I want to make on the play versus on the game number 3. We have lots of interaction and we have a wear to answer Overlord. So I do like this. We can get rid of Failure, we can play Ajani and Brunhilde to apply some pressure. This looks pretty decent. Let's run out our Ghost Vacuum immediately to keep their grave clear and keep them honest. And to start fueling our ultimate that will hopefully win us the game eventually. Now, the risk about Ghost Vacuum in this matchup is that they do often play Wrath of the Skies, and Wrath would also answer our Ghost Vacuum, which would definitely suck, because it wouldn't have done anything before. But I still like the possibility of it just winning the game. And sometimes they are light on creatures in their graveyard, so sometimes it also makes Overlord miss. We just play land, keep our interaction up. If they play Failure, I will not kill the Failure right now, because if they run out an Overlord, I want their graveyard to be empty before. That's a Swordsea, so let's get rid of the dog. And they have an Ephemerate. Oh, that's annoying. That's annoying. That's really annoying. And they get rid of our summon. That's interesting. Tap Witchblast Meadow. Grab an Elegant Parlor. I will keep a Goblin Bombardment and just exile our opponent's graveyard. Let's grab a basic Plains. I will play the Bombardment first and pass the turn. We have not seen anything that implies Catramose in the first two games, so I'd assume they don't play Catramose. But if they do, that would be a pretty good top deck right there. That's just an Emperor of Bones. Ghost Vacuum is pretty good against that. I want to exile something and I'll just snatch it away. No card for your Emperor of Bones. Now it's weird that they didn't even go for the creature, but I guess that's life. Can reset our Ghost Vacuum with the Failure, but probably they'll just reset the Emperor to grow the Failure. Yep. Next turn our Ajani will still hopefully do work. And even a Guide of Souls, that's great. That's one more creature, so our Ajani will deal more damage. So let's shoot away their dog. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. When in reality, they were just Boros Energy players throwing with cats. And now let's pass the turn. We still have the Weirtail to answer an Overlord, and we have the Ghost Vacuum to get rid of their Failure, so they also can't go for the Emperor of Bones. But this Emperor of Bones is the first sign that they might be playing Catramose, which would still be pretty annoying. Even though the exile count only says that there is one card in exile, there's 3 more, so the Catramose will be live in just a bit. That's the Flicker Wisp. I can deal with that. What do you reset, opponent? Opponent resets their Witchblast Meadow, so they want to answer our Bombardment. That's annoying, but I guess that's life. The biggest problem about that is that we don't have a red creature, and they just exile the Marsh Flats. Sure, opponent, I will still go for your Failure. Hi, kitty. Now their Witch Enchanter hits the field, but they missed land drops before. Hello again. Question is, I think I have to get rid of the Flicker Wisp right now with the Cat Warrior, because it would be too much pressure against our Ajani. Find another land. Let's see what we hit. It's a Discharge. Nothing too crazy, but I will keep it. Let's just run out a token and hit our opponent in the air. But I could put a lot of pressure on our Ajani by just adapting the Emperor, even if they don't have a creature under it. Because we could trade with the Enchanter, but the Emperor would kill our Ajani. I'm not quite sure what I would do then. Or they just have a Fatal Push to get rid of it. Okay, that's annoying. That's annoying. But our Ghost Vacuum will be the ultimate. I hope it would be most likely. Let's just get rid of their Flicker. You stay there, pet. Opponent swings in and kills our Ajani. That's annoying, but we can deal with that. They're down to 2 cards, and we are almost able to use our Ghost Vacuum, basically win the game. There is an Overlord. That's okay. Do you hit something? And they do hit pretty well. Those are actually some scary hits. They do grab their Witch Enchanter, which is pretty much to be expected. Let's just use our mana immediately. Get rid of the Overlord. And now I kind of wish I would have put the Discharge on the bottom, so we would be able to maybe draw land to just activate our Ghost Vacuum immediately. But, well, it is what it is. Let's just hit our opponent with the Guide of Souls, and if we draw land next turn and we are also able to revive an Overlord, that would also be huge. Definitely looking forward to our opponent not drawing a land, hopefully. Please don't Witch Enchanter me, opponent. They play a Witch Enchanter. Do they have another one? They do have another one, so they will get rid of our Ghost Vacuum. Oh, that's annoying. Let's get rid of their Solitude. And I will also just get rid of the Emperor of Bones right now. Luckily enough, they are down to 5 lives and only with 1 card left in hand. Our Guide of Souls is flying, so just drawing a creature is lethal. Nice. And we hit our opponent in the air for 5 damage. Sweet! So, on to the next match. Match number 5. We are playing against Deck Faden, so he will probably be on something spicy. We are unfortunately on the draw, but Ragavan, Guide of Souls and Flage still just sounds like something I want to keep. Even though there's no immediate interaction, opponent also plays a Guide of Souls. I will just respond with a Ragavan. Well, the real question is what new cards he is testing out. That's just a mountain, so it appears he's also just playing Boros. Maybe he's also just trying out Lightning. Definitely the hot new card. That the discharge on our Ragavan. That's annoying, but no other creature behind that. So I can live with that. Could play the summon right now to play the Flage. Well, let's count how many cards we would have in our grave. We're definitely playing the land. We would have one more land. Then the summon would also be in the grave and one more land. That would be one card too little to flip off Flage and to escape Flage with haste, unfortunately. But I still think playing the summon right here might be better. Oh no, let's keep it. Next turn we'll hopefully be able to Flage the Guide. Hopefully there is no way he gets to buff it. That's the second discharge, that's annoying. That means their Guide of Souls will be able to fly. I'm not playing Static Prism. Does suck against this. I do like myself some Ocelots. Let's spread the love with Summon and Ocelot Pride. Next turn, if our summon should survive, which I think it probably will, because if they remove it, I think they're more likely to go off with the Ocelot. They have an Ocelot of their own. That might end bad. And a Flage. So they are just playing Boros, okay. So far nothing spicy to see. And they do get rid of our summon. So we get to keep off Ocelot Pride, and they don't even attack with their Guide of Souls. Now that's interesting. Now we'll run out of Guide, get rid of their cat. The biggest problem right now is that they do have access to Arena of Glory and we don't. But they don't have enough cards in their grave for now, and they are down to 2 cards. So maybe they don't have a Survey land to escape Flage. That's the Season Pyromancer, that's possibly even worse. And they do discard Ajani. Now their grave is almost filled. Getting rid of Ajani still seems kind of weird to me, but they do have 2 Guide of Souls, so they drew another one, and there is even a land. So next turn they will escape Flage with haste, and they would even be able to double pump with Guide. So there is tons of damage coming. We have to take this hit. They do attack with their cat token. I actually wonder why would they... they will also pump this cat token. Yeah. I just thought they might double pump the Guide, and they don't pump the other one, so we just take the 6 in the air. That's no Arena of Glory, unfortunately. But we still have to escape our Flage, even though they will be able to just answer ours. We could dash in Ragavan, give Ragavan flying, and then escape the Flage afterwards. That might be what we have to do, actually. Because just pumping our Ocelot wouldn't save us. Maybe have to find something. Escape Flage, get rid of the cat token, attack with Ocelot, pump it, we'll go down to 16, but they'll be able to escape 14, that would be 17 damage, but we also would make cats, so we're not technically dead if we just go for Flage. Let's just go for Flage, I guess, because we still make some cats end of turn to gain more life. Also just play the monkey as a blocker, and let's hit them in the air with 3 lifelink. We get to make 2 more cats end of turn, so we are not dead. Pretty much any 1-drop kills us. And even if they just escape Flage to get rid of our Flage, we are still in lots of trouble, because we have to find an answer for it. They shoot our Ocelot Pride, so we get to keep our Flage at the discharge. So they could have just killed us if they had discharged something else and just hit face with everything and double pump the Flage. They did miss lethal. They don't get to pump their Flage that way. We'll just take the hit and hope to find something good. just a bolt, doesn't really do anything. That's a summon. Do we maybe find something? That's an Ocelot Pride, that does not do anything. Well, they do have lethal if they shoot their Season Pyromancer and escape, even if they draw land. We're pretty much just dead to anything. It's still just attack with our Ragavan. Fortunately, no life gain for us. They did already miss lethal once, but just any creature is lethal because of the energy. Even the land drop is lethal if they see the line of getting rid of their Season Pyromancer with the Flage. Doesn't seem to be the case. They get rid of our summon. Don't mind me, opponent. Let's just block Flage now. They missed lethal twice already. And now if we draw land, we get to kill their Flage by escaping ours. Or we just draw a second bolt. Also don't hate that. I think that's what we have to do. We still just get to almost everything else. Have to draw land. I just have to draw any creature and they get to buff their Flage and fly over our head. So if we escape our Flage and get rid of the Guide of Souls, we're just dead in the air. So let's pass the turn once more, and at the beginning of combat let's double bolt their Flage, I guess. And if they play something that gains them energy, I think I even let them go to combat so they maybe buff their Flage. Maybe there is a way that our opponent screws up enough that we get to win this. That's a Static Prison, that's energy. So I think I have to hope our opponent tries to buff their Flage now. Yep. Otherwise they just something else. They hit our face with the Flage. So if they just buff anything other than Flage, we are pretty much screwed, not dead. If they buff this Guide of Souls, actually is the way we are. Maybe we would still survive. Let's double bolt that guide. And they try to buff the other guide. So let's bolt that one. We take 3 from Flage. And now we just jump away. Do I get rid of the Season Pyromancer? I don't think so. I think I'll also keep the bolt ready because I think I must draw an untapped land to escape my Flage and get rid of their Flage to have a chance. We go down to 1. That's an untapped land, but it is one that hurts us quite a bit. So I don't think we get to get out of this. We have to fetch Shock to get rid of this Flage. Sideboarding for the mirror. Let's bring in Wrath of the Skies, Ghost Vacuum, Wear Tear, the Celestial Purchase to answer Goblin Bombardment and Flage, and maybe even the Extraction Specialist. Let's just see what our cuts are. Definitely get rid of all of those Ragavans, and I think I can also shave 1 Flage. I don't think I have the space for the Extraction Specialist, unfortunately, but it is quite good. Maybe it's better than a summon. That's so good with the summon. Maybe it's better than lightning, because lightning won't really be able to connect. Yeah, I think I prefer this. So let's move to the next game. Game number 2. We are on the play. We have Bolt, Ajani, and a summon. Nothing spectacular, but I will keep it because we can kill a 1-drop and gain some card advantage off of our summon. Opponent shocks in a Sacred Foundry and plays a Guide of Soul. I will definitely just bolt that away. Don't mind me, opponent. Bolt your guide. We draw another summon. That's nice because that means that next turn we can just play summon and start drawing cards with them. Opponent just play the discharge on our Ajani and a Marsh Flats. Let's play our summon and just see if we find something that we can play. We just find a land, but that's okay-ish. It's at least a card we could use. Unfortunately, we don't have looters to get rid of our excess lands, which might be something that we have to include somehow, but there's no real space for it if we're playing Lightning and the summon. I definitely want to play both of those together to have more haste access to Lightning. Opponent shocks in a Sacred Foundry, probably just a Flage to get rid of my summon. Yep, definitely dig in for an answer to that Flage. Don't want to lose to Flage again. That's an Arena of Glory. That's unfortunately no real answer. Ocelot Pride, good card, but no answer. Another land off of our summon. So we are flooded with our opponent for 2, and let's hope they won't get to escape. This turn they won't be able to, but in the future this Flage will pose a big problem for us. Ravenchan gets rid of our summon. and they play an Ajani. Now that's already really annoying. Don't really think there's anything we can do. Could attack with our cat. They could, if we attack with Ocelot, just eat it with Ajani or flip Ajani, which I would absolutely hate. Playing this guy would just mean it probably also gets killed, so let's just play our Mesa and pass the turn. I could have surveyed right there and maybe hit Flage. Should have done that, but I guess we are playing a bit slower today. Opponent surveils and they will probably escape their Flage. So they might be scared of some removal in our hand. They mill Season Pyramid, so that's some card advantage for them. So they might not shoot their Cat Warrior. If they go for the line of shooting their Cat Warrior, that's super risky in the eye of some removal from us, but it would absolutely pay off. They just get rid of the Ocelot Pride, so they play it safe. Now we get hit by the Cat Warrior. Yep, we just take it. And now we're looking for an answer to this Flage. Ocelot Pride will gain us some life, and it is something we can use with our Guide of Souls, so just keep it for now, I think. It's better than nothing, and milling it in the grave wouldn't give us any value. We also get City's Blessing right here, so at the very least we do go up to 3 energy and they will be able to only answer one of those with their Flage. Opponent shoots our Guide of Souls, so our Ocelot is still alive. Oh, they have a discharge for the Ocelot as well. That's looking really tough. I will preserve my life, put a little enchant with one of the cat token. The best thing would just be a Flage top deck, as in many cases in the mirror. They have another Flage. Do they flip their Ajani? They don't. Because we even have the mana to just hardcast Flage and escape it in the same turn. That's just a Sunback Canyon. Let's draw a card. That's Flage. Now running it out right now might be risky if they have an answer. Maybe I should wait a turn, but we would get another hefty hit. Keeping the Flage right now is also our only answer to get rid of our opponent's Flage. But I think I just have to get rid of this Ajani and hope our opponent doesn't have a way to answer our graveyard. Go up. Some Season Pyromancers to have a bit of more. Maybe we can go down to 2 summons, maybe we can shave 1 Flage, maybe that would be enough. I don't know. Also, another interesting thought that I've also pointed out in the league is that we can maybe turn around our Galvanic Discharge and Lightning Bolt ratio. Bolt together with Lightning is crazy efficient reach, and we don't really need the energy as much as pretty much all other energy builds have in the past. Our only energy payoff is the Guide of Souls or the Discharge, if you can count that as a payoff. We don't play Static Prisons right here because we want to be aggressive with bolts. We don't have any other thing going on. There's no Amp Raptor anymore, there's nothing like this. We just have clean, mean aggression. So I think swapping the Discharge and the bolts might actually work. might actually make it a bit more favorable against faster decks because we have more reach. Sideboard was okay. We didn't play against Eldrazi again. Not playing against Eldrazi makes you not miss stuff like Molten Rain, so I didn't hate the board. Extraction Specialist is pretty interesting, but I think not quite good enough because there's not enough matchups where it really has the oomph and impact that I want to have. So that's probably my first shakes right there. Other than that, I really like the list. I do really think that there might be a world where energy decks will now diverge into the two different paths of Mardu mid-range, because it can also utilize Sephiroth. Maybe there will also be Season Pyromancer thrown in the mix, but it will be able to go bigger and last longer. And the Boros version that will look something similar to this, that has more aggression and can fight the combo decks on the other axis by just killing them. Hope you liked it. Leave a like and subscribe if you did. Leave a comment if you have some Final Fantasy cards that you want to see tested or some decks. And see you in the next.